بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. So we'll continue inshallah tonight talking about Seera al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and tonight we'll start with the marriage of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam to Khadija radiyallahu ta'ala anha. So Khadija radiyallahu ta'ala anha was a widow. She married two persons before Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, and from these two marriages Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed her with a good money, and she had children from her, and I remember one of them called Hind, and she herself from a good family in Quraysh. She's from Quraysh as well, and because she was a wealthy woman, what she used to do, she used to ask people to, in a way, to invest for her. So what she will do, she will give the person some money, and he will go and do the business in Syria or in Yemen. It depends on the season. And when they come back, they share the profit. And so she heard about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how honest he is, and also that his manners are great. So she thought, why not that she can hire Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to do business for her. So she met him, and she spoke to him about what she heard about the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, and she explained what's the procedure. That, look, I'll give you the money, and you'll go, as I said, to Syria in this case, the first case, that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam done the business for her, and she will send him a servant, and when he comes back, then they share the profit. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepted that offer, and she sent with him her servant, and that servant called Maysara. So they went to Syria, and the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he sold what he has, and he made even some deals while he was there, and made some money, and bought what he likes, and came to Mecca. And Khadija, then she sold what he brought, and mashallah, they made a lot of profit. And she asked the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I noticed the people before you, they used to give me some money, but mashallah, look now. He said, we agreed that we share the profit, and this is what I make. So, and Maysara told Khadija two things actually when they were in this trip. The first thing, that how Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a professional, and the way that he was dealing with the matters was to show that mashallah, as he is in this business for many years. And also he mentioned in the way to Syria, the way back, most of the time there is a cloud covering in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam while he is traveling. So all these made Khadija start now thinking about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam seriously, that he can be the man who can do business for her. Obviously, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam benefited from this trip. Obviously, he made some money, and also it gave him now, opened for him new areas, because this is the first time for him to go in that age to Syria. And also he passed in Medina, which later, inshallah, this Medina will be the center of the da'wah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. And that trip also was the reason for him to marry Sayyidah Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. And also, as I said, Maysara told her about how kind he is, how generous, and all of these things. So what she did, Khadija, she spoke to a friend of her called Nafisa bint Munabbih. And she said to her, look, yani, I found that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam can be the right man for me. But you know, it's difficult for me to talk to him. So what shall I do? She said, as long as you are saying that you are happy with this, leave it to me. So Nafisa, she went to Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam and she opened the subject with him. And she said, look, and you are now 25. And remember, brothers, at that time, and to reach 25 and you are not married was something very strange, because you'll find the people, very when they are 15, 16, maybe if they reach 20, there's something. So she said to him, why you are not married until now? He said, look, yeah, I am a poor man, I don't have enough money. She said to him, what if I found for you a lady, she has the money, the lineage, the beauty, everything. He said to her, come on, who will accept me in this? I am 25, I'm not married, I'm a poor man. Who you are talking about? She said, Khadija. He said, Khadija, what you are talking about? Because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam just, say a few weeks or months, he just worked for her. So she didn't expect that Khadija will give him this offer. She said to him, just say yes and leave everything to me. I'll do it. Khadija is my friend and I'll do everything. He said, I need to talk to my uncle. So he spoke to his uncle Abu Talib, and Abu Talib was happy with this because he knows Khadija, he knows the family, everything. So then Nafisa, she went back and said he's okay with this. And then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he went with his uncle Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib and Abu Talib and some of Shuyukh Quraysh at that time. And they asked for her hand from her father. And the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam married her. And he gave her the mahr, 20 bakra, which is from the camels. And she was the first woman that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam married her, and he never married after her until she died. So she died when he was Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam about 50 years old. So you can see for 25 years old, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam didn't marry any wife other than Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. And she, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed her with 6 children, 2 boys, Al-Qasim and Abdullah, and 4 girls, Zainab, Ruqayya, Kulthum, and Fatima. Al-Qasim, he grew up until he reached an age that he was able to ride a horse or a camel, and but after that he died. And Abdullah, he died when he was just a baby. And this is before Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam became a prophet. And in this we can see there is hikmah, there is wisdom, that imagine that these boys were alive, maybe his father was alive at that time, and then after his death, everyone will say, okay, his son will be after him, and or his dad or something. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes to make this prophethood particularly for Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. And this prophethood, the mission in itself, will not be affected with anything to do with the culture at that time. As I said, البنات were Zainab, Ruqayya, Kulthum and Fatima. All of them, they got married in the life of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. And so Zainab married to Al-As, or Abu Al-As bin Rabi'. Ruqayya and Kulthum married to Uthman bin Affan radiallahu ta'ala an. Firstly, Ruqayya, then when she died, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, offered him Kulthum, and Fatima radiallahu ta'ala and married to Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu ta'ala. And all the girls, they converted to, or they became Muslims, and also they migrated to Al-Medina with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now the age of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam, most of the historians, when he got married was 25 and Khadija was 40. You will find in other narrations this age, there is different opinions, but this is the most authentic opinion that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was 25 and Khadija was 40. And here we can see that this teaches us when it comes to marriage, the only thing is that the people accepting each other. And obviously in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam he spoke about the criteria of a woman when you like to get married, as the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لمالها جمالها حسب نسبها ودينها فاظفر بذات الدين تربت يداك. He said the people will try to find a woman sometimes because of her beauty, for her wealth, for her lineage, and also for the deen. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, go for that one with the deen. And Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha, obviously the deen at that time wasn't a factor. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he doesn't have a religion at that time, but she was a wise woman, and she supported the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in all aspects you can think about it after loss of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, we can learn from this few things, as in top of what I said. What made Khadija choose the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam? Firstly, to do the business, and then after that, to marry him. Two things, al-amana was-sidq. Al-amana was-sidq. So, and we know that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was well known in Mecca that he is Sadiq al-Amin. So because he was Sadiq al-Amin, this is why firstly Khadija chose him to do the business for him. Then when she found that Sadiq al-Amin is implemented or was implemented when he went in the business, now she was sure that what they are saying about Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, that he is Sadiq Amin, she saw that when he went for the business, and as I said earlier, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with a good prophet. And also, this part of the Seera teaches us that business is one of the good things that the Muslim should try if he can afford that, because of two reasons or three reasons. The first thing, the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "At-tajir as-saduq al-amin yahshar ma'a an-nabiyyin was-siddiqin wash-shuhada." So if you are a businessman and you are truthful and you are honest, you will be gathered with the nabiyyin, the saints, the siddiqin, shuhada. Why? Why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying this? Because you are dealing with money, and money is one of the things that all the people they love. And because the love of the money, you might cheat, you might lie, you might do bad things. But when you are in business and the money is part of your life, then despite all of this, you are a truthful person, you are an honest person. This means, yes, you deserve to be with the prophets, as the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned the hadith. And you'll find many of the Sahaba radiyallahu alayhim, they used to do this. Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu was businessman, Abdurrahman ibn Auf was businessman, Uthman ibn Affan was businessman. So, and many of the Sahaba and Tabi'een and after that. And the other thing that the business gives you, it makes you a free man. Because when you are working for someone, you are limited. So you are limited with the time, you are limited even with the efforts, and you notice that what you are doing, yes, you are getting salary, but the main beneficiary is the one who's employing you. But when you are running the business yourself, this means that, as I said, you are a free man, so you can go wherever you like, and you are the boss of yourself, as they call it these days. We learn also from this part of the Seera of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that how Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala planned the marriage of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to Sayyidah Khadija. Because there are many girls of Quraysh, even Bani Hashim, available at that time, even from his cousins. There are other ladies that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam can marry. But Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala chose Khadija particularly to be the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, because Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is preparing the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam for the great mission later. And in this mission, he meets a great woman as well. So if that woman was a scary person, not responsible in these things, then when he comes from the cave and say, this what happened to you, say, well, I don't want to deal with this. Find someone else to talk to. But Khadija radiallahu anha, because she was a strong woman, a wise woman, that when we come to this, you can see her response. The first thing she said to him, أبشر يا ابن العم والله لا يخزيك الله أبدا. This is great news, my cousin. Allah will not let you down. الشيخ محمد الغزالي رحمة الله تعالى عليه said, خديجة مثل طيب للمرأة التي تكمل حياة الرجل العظيم. He said Khadija is a great example to the woman that she will complete the life of a great man. And then he said that the people who has the missions, they have very sensitive hearts, and most of the time they are facing a lot from the people when they are starting their mission, and they will suffer because of this, and they need inside the house a person who will give them the comfort and what they need. And Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha was the right person for that. Also, we learn from this that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he tested or tasted the loss of the children. He lost the two, Qasim and Abdullah, and later he lost all his daughters in his life, Zainab and Ruqayya and Kulthum. And there is a wisdom in this. It is to teach Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam how to be patient and to feel with the people when they have lost as well. And also it reminds Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam about the other prophets who didn't have children until they were they were so old, like Ibrahim alayhi salam, Zakaria alayhi salam. So all these things gave the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam what he need as a human being. And it shows us also that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he wasn't a person that he's thinking about this dunya and what most of the people they are after when they get married. Because as I said earlier, in that age when he's 25, and obviously Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he's from Bani Hashim, his grandfather Abdul Muttalib, so If you just point at any woman in Mecca at that time, and he can choose as well. But because the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is not so engaged in this dunya and the beauty of this dunya, so when he saw that she's a great lady and a wise lady, he accepted. And this age difference wasn't a factor in for him to choose Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. And also in the marriage of Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha, we can see that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam stayed with her, as I said earlier, 25 years, and he didn't marry any other woman. And you'll find many of these Orientals and these days those who are against Islam, they try to use the subject of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ a way to criticize the Nabi ﷺ, to make comments about the Nabi ﷺ, even astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Some they said he's pedophile. You know, when they talk about his marriage of Sayyidah Aisha, they said, oh, look how he's marrying a girl, she's 6 or 9 years old, or these things. They are making a big issue of this. And here we can see that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, if he's not loyal, for example, after he became a prophet, because 15 years, then he became a prophet, and he can marry. Then even in these 15 years, it was very common that you marry the second wife, the third wife, the fourth, fifth, even 10. No one will ask you, what are you doing? Because now he has money, but the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam didn't do that. Because he, as a man, as a prophet, he is not after all these dunya thing. He was after carrying on the mission that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him after that. Then you will find after the death of Khadija, he married Sauda bin Zum'a at the beginning. Then after that, Aisha and the others. And when you read the stories or the Seera, and you'll find many of them, there is a reason for the marriage. Religious reason, social reason, supporting reason. But there was a reason behind every marriage of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam for the other women. So this is about marrying Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Sayyidah Khadija radiallahu ta'ala. Just a few years after the marriage of Khadija radiallahu ta'ala, there was an important event happened in Mecca. We know that Al-Kaaba in Mecca, and the Kaaba was an important thing in Mecca, and the people do pilgrimage to it even before Islam. So when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was 35 years, there was damage happened to the Kaaba. Two narrations. One, they said it was because of a flood, and the other said there was, it was caught in fire. Doesn't matter what is the reason, but the idea is that good part of Al-Kaaba was destroyed, was damaged. Now Quraysh, they gathered and they said, we need to see what we'll do with this. So they have two opinions. One opinion that will just build what being destroyed and will carry on. And the other opinion was, why you don't knock it down and rebuild it? So those who suggested to rebuild it, they have a good case to discuss, because the building was old, and there is some of the bricks is really very weak and don't do these things. But there was a concern. The concern is that these people who were alive at that time, many of them, they witnessed what happened to Abraham when he tried to destroy the Kaaba. So they thought if they come and destroy the Kaaba now, what happened to Abraham will happen to them. Allah will destroy them. So they were concerned about this. Then Al-Walid bin al-Mughira, he was a young man at that time. And he said, look, I'll take the responsibility of this. So I will be the first person to look it down. If the next day I am alive, carry on. If I die, خلاص, I am ready to sacrifice for this. And you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want you to do that. So they agreed. So Al-Walid brought the hammer and he hit the wall and he said, Allahumma lam nazir ma nuridu illa al-khayr. Oh Allah, we are not going astray. Oh Allah, we only want the good. So, and he knocked it from Ruknain, the Rukn al-Yamani, and the Rukn al-Shami, which is the two corners, and he left it. He didn't continue. And in the morning, the people were waiting to see what will happen to what? To Al-Walid ibn Mughira. So Walid ibn Mughira woke up in the morning and he was sound and said this, okay, this means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is happy with us. So all of them now came together and they started looking at the Kaaba. And then they made a plan and they said, so some will bring the bricks, some will build and help in building, because they brought a Roman person to do the job, and also they brought some of the stuff from a ship was broke near Jeddah, and they started bringing the bricks. In Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, at that time, he started to help his uncles of this. His uncle Abbas was with him, and he noticed that the shoulder of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam became red because the bricks are hot and it is very hot. So he said to him, why you don't take off your izar, the bottom parts, put it on your shoulder to protect your body. So he took it. The minute he took his izar, he fell down unconscious. And he started saying, Ruddu alayhi ridai, Ruddu alayhi izari. So bring my izar back. And we can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at that time, he protected the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam from being exposed to the other people. So they continued until they reached where to put the black stone, Hajar al-Aswad. And all of them, they are respecting the Kaaba, respecting particularly Hajar al-Aswad. And now every tribe, they want to have the honor of putting the Hajar al-Aswad in its place. So, say, Banu Hashim said, we'll do it. Banu Umayyah said, we do it. Banu Taym will say it. Banu Adi this. And they started quarreling, then shouting, then they were ready to fight. So, like some of them, they said, as they say these days, on my body. So, then a wise man from among them said, calm down. Let's find the solution. Then he suggested, we'll make the first one who come from that direction will be a judge between us. Agree? They agreed. So they sat down and waiting for the man to come from that direction. So subhanAllah, few minutes came, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came, and everyone said, As-Sadiq al-Amin, As-Sadiq al-Amin. So they came, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he came and he said, what's the problem? They explained the problem and he said, okay, bring me a cloth. So he brought the cloth, then he brought the black stone, put it in the middle of the cloth, and he said, okay, now every leader of these tribes will hold it from one part, then and carry it. So they carried it until it reached to the point. Then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam took the black stone by himself and put it on that corner. And by this, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam managed to sort a problem which might cause a lot of problems at that time. So and they continued building the Kaaba, and they made the height of it 18 dhira. And dhira is about 60 to 70 centimeters. And they raised the door of Al-Kaaba. So they will only allow what they want, who they want to enter the Kaaba. Before that, the door was to the ground, as you can see now when you go there. And originally it used to have two doors. You come from one and leave from the others. So they only made one, and they made pillars inside. I think there are six pillars. And while they are doing this, they made a condition. They said, when you contribute for the building, be sure that your money, the money you use, is halal. Mainly two things: that it should not have any riba in it, any usury interest. Secondly, if there is any money from a prostitute, because this was one of the things available at that time. So, subhanallah, yani, at that time, they are mushrikeen, they are not believers, but when it came to the Kaaba, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes to make the building of Al-Kaaba at that time pure, subhanallah. And you can see taqdeer Allah Azza wa Jal in this. So when they were doing this, and as I said, because they raised it more than it was at the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam, they were not able to do it at the same shape of Ibrahim. So then they left what you can see these days, what they call it Hajar Ismail, and they made a wall there, so you know that this part is part of Al-Kaaba. And Abdullah ibn Zubayr later, because Sayyida Aisha radiallahu ta'ala narrated hadith of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, لولا أن قوم قريش حديث عهد بجاهلية, if Quraysh is not far from the Jahiliyyah, I will knock this wall, which is where Hajar Ismail, and extend it and make it two doors. So Abdullah ibn Zubayr heard this hadith from Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, and because it was burned and also destroyed because when they attacked Abdullah ibn Zubayr, so he consulted the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala alayhim at that time, and they agreed with him, and he built it as the suggestion of the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. So he extended the wall and he made two doors. So when Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, using al-Hajjaj, defeated Abdullah ibn Zubayr, and so he said, look, Abdullah ibn Zubayr, he made these changes in Kaaba, Abdullah ibn Marwan, he said, put it back as it was. So they knocked down what Abdullah Zubair did and put it as it was at the time of Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Then after that, some of the Sahaba, they said, but the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that this hadith sahih. So he consulted the Imam Malik, rahimahullah ta'ala, and he said, this is what happened. Abdullah ibn Zubair did this, we knocked it down, and now there is authentic hadith about this. What shall we do? He said, leave it as it is now, because we don't want to make Al-Kaaba now is, in other words, a political issue, that someone will knock it down, someone will bring it again. Let's leave it as it is. And it is the same as it was, at that time until now. And while I'm talking about this thing, I'd like to mention 2-3 things here. The first thing, while they are knocking down the Kaaba, they reached the foundation of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And they were thinking of also knocking the foundation. So when one of them hit that, there was a big spark came, and even according to some narrations, you can feel all Mecca shaking. So they said, leave it as it is, because they noticed that even the bricks or the stones, they were linked together, the foundation of Ibrahim alayhi salam, in a very strange way, that if you move one stone, all the other stones will move at the same time. So they left it. And the other thing that I'd like to mention, after that building, until I think 1200 something, nothing happened to the Kaaba. Sometimes there is small things here, maybe there is a leak from the roof, or there is something to do with the door. They will fix it. Then it was when the Ottoman Empire was, I think it was Salim al-Awwal, the Khalifa at that time. Then there was a big flood happened in Mecca and destroyed the Kaaba totally. And Muslims in Mecca were crying, and it was for them a very big issue. Kaaba destroyed. They never expected this to happen. And so after the flood finished, they cleaned the area and moved the mud and all of these things, and wrote to the governor of Egypt at that time, because he was in charge of Mecca. And so they made now a committee for this and started to do the things. And when you read the letters between those who are in Mecca and those who are in Egypt at that time, first, as I said, they made a committee in Mecca from the scholars at that time. For every step, what shall we do? Where to put the black stone? Where to put this? Shall we, the height, and all of these things. Every step, they were consulting the scholars at that time, and they will have the approval from Muhammad Ali, who was the governor of Egypt at that time, until they build it again. And as I said, there was a discussion about Al-Hajar al-Aswad again, how to put it, and all of these things. And what they built at that time is what we see now. So Al-Kaaba in itself, this is the building that we see now, is the build which happened, I think, 1213, if I'm not wrong. And as I said, after that, all the fixes used to be just the roof, maybe the door, maybe a stone here. They will do the drains or these things. But the masjid in itself, mashallah, yani, many times they done extensions for it. The first extension was in the time of Umar radiallahu anh, then Uthman, during the Amawi times, and the Abbasi times, and we know now the massive extension